Okay, let's see how it goes. I thought I had good lighting in this spot and then the sun went away, so we shall see. Hello, my name is Elsa and this is going to be a book haul video. I realised it's been a lot longer than I thought it had since I did a book haul video, so I have quite a few books here that I'm excited to talk about. I'm sure there will be a couple that I've had and forgotten about and therefore will miss out. But if it's a book that I've read, it will pop up in a reading wrap-up soon. Let's get on with the books. First of all, back at the beginning of September, I was feeling like there wasn't, although I've got quite a few shelves worth of TBR pile at the moment, nothing on there was jumping out at me as something that I was really excited to read. And I thought, it's been a while since I've bought any books. I've been really good with my book buying ban, so why don't I treat myself to a couple? So I went to Forbidden Planet in London, which is a great place to get sci-fi and fantasy books. And I bought Magic for Nothing by Seanan McGuire and Witchwood by George Mann. Magic for Nothing is the most recent book in Seanan McGuire's Encrypted series. This is a series about a family of cryptozoologists, so they study mythical creatures. I don't want to give away spoilers for earlier books in the series, so I'm not going to talk about the events of this book, but this follows the youngest daughter of the family, Antimony. She goes by Annie for most of the book, and as with all the books in the series, I found this a lot of fun. It's a really well written plot with lots of twists. There is a light romance plotline in there. Annie is trying to protect the cryptids in a particular part of America from various nastiness that is going on. She's also trying to deal with her feelings for her family. She's really annoyed with her older sister for a lot of this book. And since the first couple of books, in fact by this point 3 of the books in the series before this one have been told from that older sister Verity's point of view, it was very interesting to now be in Annie's head and see how she's viewing Verity's actions from a very different perspective and has very different opinions on things that Verity did. I'm going to stop there. I'll talk about this more in my wrap-up, but I love this series, and if you like books with a little bit of magical twist to them, I definitely recommend these. They're a lot of fun. So the other book I got then was Witchwood. I have written a review for it, which is on my book blog. I will put a link to the blog in the comments. I should also say that I post reviews on my blog a couple of times a week at the moment, so if you want to keep up with them a little bit more often than what I say on here, and hear a little bit more detail about the books that I mention, then looking at my book reviews on my blog or on Goodreads is a good place to go for that. I also link to all my reviews and my YouTube videos from Twitter. On Twitter I am ElsaCF. I will put that at the bottom of the screen and in the description box. So anyway, Witchwood is a crime novel set in the home counties kind of thing, about an hour or so's drive from London, and there's a series of murders happening. The main character is called Elspeth, and she has been living in London for a number of years and has now come back to Witchwood, and she arrives there just in time for the first murder victim to be discovered. The next book to mention that I have is You, Me and Everything by Catherine Isaac. I got this one because one of my friends was sent it for a review and she's not going to get around for it for a while, so she lent it to me. This doesn't actually come out until April next year, so it's not particularly high on my pile at the moment either. It says, You, Me and Everything is a heartfelt and unforgettable story about the lengths we are prepared to go to for those we love. I'm not sure how much I'm going to like this or not. I really not sure from that description what it's about, but I will see. When I get to it, I will tell you more about it. Another book that I was given that I've not yet got to is one that my boyfriend recommended to me, and that is The 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield. This is a mystery story. I don't really know what it's about or what time period it's set in, but it's about a big house and the mysteries of the family who lived there, I think is what I'm getting from it. I will probably read this soon, because I like a good mystery, especially this time of year. So yes, I'll talk about that more in a wrap-up once I've read it. Another book that I bought at the start of the month when I was treating myself is God's Grave by J. Christoph. This is the sequel to Nevernight, which came out in hardback last year and paperback earlier this year. Nevernight was one of my absolute favourite books last year, and I've been really looking forward to this one coming out. I also got it with the Waterstones edition with the black sprayed edges, because that matches the one that I have for Nevernight, and it has this gorgeous end paper and these illustrations on the covers. It's so pretty. So basically the world of Nevernight and God's Grave is kind of semi-Roman. There's a school for assassins, and there's a big thread of revenge running through the whole thing. I don't know much about the plot of God's Grave, but it's continuing with the life of the main character, who is called Mia Corvair, and her life after the events of Nevernight. I haven't started this yet. It's a little bit big and heavy for me to read on the tube, but it's going to be my next reading at home book, and I imagine that I will start this week or next weekend. Another book that I got in September, which I was sent for review, was The Bastard Legion by Gavin Smith. This book came out in the first week of October. I have reviewed it on my blog. You can find the link to the blog in the description box. This is a sci-fi book, as you might guess from the cover. It is set in the future where there are prison ships, and is about a woman called Miska who has stolen a prison ship and is making the prisoners into her own kind of mercenary army. The first job they take on as the mercenaries, though, doesn't quite go to plan. There are things that they have not been told about the job, or information they were given wasn't quite accurate. So it's mainly about that. I will talk about this more in my wrap up. Another book I was sent for review, which came out at the beginning of the month, or possibly the end of September, I can't remember, is Archangel's Viper by Nalini Singh. Again, I have reviewed this. You can find it on my blog, and I will talk about it more in a wrap-up. This is the most recent book in her Guild Hunters series. I absolutely love Nalini Singh's writing. I've really enjoyed the Guild Hunter books. This follows Venom, who is the one with the creepy kind of eyes and the poisonous bite, and Holly. Holly was one of the girls who Elena saves in the very first book in the series, when there's a mad archangel running around New York. He bit Holly and kind of infected her with some of his poison and the nasty madness that was going on in him. So Holly has these weird abilities. Holly and Venom are a really, really snarky couple. It was a very fun book to read. I loved it. I set myself a challenge this year to read 6 non-fiction books in a year, and I've been a little bit behind on it. When I posted my most recent non-fiction review, my friend Jim had said that he had a few recent non-fiction books which he could lend to me if I would like, and I said yes. So they are When Breath Becomes Air by Paul Kalanathi. I have now read this. I will talk about it in my wrap-up video. Mad Girl by Bryony Gordon. Bryony is a journalist and has OCD. She's suffered from it for most of her life. I just started reading this the other day. I have mild OCD that I have talked about in videos on this channel in the past, so it's really interesting for me to read. And then finally, Another Day in the Death of America by Gary Yunge? Not sure how to pronounce that. Gary picked one random day and then researched people who were killed in America on that day. I'd heard a description of this book and thought it sounded really interesting. Not very cheerful, but obviously it's looking into gun violence in America, and I think it sounds very interesting. One last physical book to show you before I go on to ebooks. This one I was also sent for review. This was from the Harper 360 team, and that is Last Christmas in Paris by Hazel Gaynor and Heather Webb. This is a war story, obviously as the name suggests, in Paris. I'm going to be getting to this really soon because this is now available. I think it came out at the beginning of October. You'll see it in an end of October reading wrap-up. Another thing that I got this month that I just want to show you is this exciting package showed up in the post. It's got my name on the corner and with a little ribbon, which is cool. Oh, and I opened it. This is from Mills & Boon. It is for the Mills & Boon Modern Girls Guides. You can now get personalised editions. So this one is The Modern Girl's Guide to Helping Yourself, and it has my name on the front, which is super cool. They sent it with a little kit that also has gin and tonic, dry shampoo, and there were some love hearts, but those have been eaten already. So that was a lovely little package to get, and I'm going to read the book soon. And I have a couple of ebooks to talk about really quickly. I was sent for review through NetGalley, Coming Home to the Comfort Food Cafe by Debbie Johnson. I reviewed that earlier this week. I really like the Comfort Food Cafe series that Debbie writes. It's very sweet, very emotional books. She writes grief really well. It's definitely a book to keep a pack of tissues with you. I had lots of happy and sad tears when I was reading it. I go to a book club in London called Book Club YA, which meets at Waterstones about once a month. I will link to them in the description box. And the choice for the next meeting, which will be at the beginning of November, is Moxie. I don't really know much about it now. A girl sets up a newspaper in her school, I think, but I will be talking about that one after I've done the book club meeting. Finally, I got for review a copy of Beyond Forever by Kit Rosher. I absolutely love Kit Rosher's books. This one is kind of a prequel to their Beyond series, which they wrapped up earlier this year. It follows Alistair Kane and his partner in the time from their first meeting at snapshots through the lives of the characters at key points, and just kind of gives you a bit more background to what life was like before the series starts and things like that. I'm partway through and I will probably finish reading that one today or tomorrow. I'm really enjoying it though, and if you are a fan of the Beyond series, I definitely recommend it for once you've finished. Do not read it before then, because I think you'll just get so much more enjoyment out of it if you've finished the main series first. Those are all the books that I have for you today. I'm going to have to edit this video down a lot because I've made it a lot more talky than I meant it to be. I will be back with you soon for a reading wrap up for September. I will talk to you soon. Bye!